Hi, this is Paul. Welcome on the 19th video tutorial. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to my channel right now and give like if you will see the video useful for you. Last time I talked about the whole monitor section, and today I will describe the pulse function in detail as it is part of the monitor section. At first, let's see what the user guide says. So under the function monitor we have the pulse function described, and pulse simply shows how far the generation is getting when the process is running. It mainly depends on the filter settings, and it makes more sense when the setting is tough. Pulse function doesn't make sense when there is no filter, because it will still have the same pulsation and it will heavily slowing the complete process. We have for the pulse the control panel where we can switch it on and off. Then we have the scroll bar where we can set up from which level the pulse will be rendered and recorded, and the final value is how high the amplitude will be, and it is set it up automatically during the primary settings, and it's equal to the number of preview slots plus 1. So actually this is number of preview slots plus the F column. Then we have parameter the pulse length, and we have the pulse graph which we can hide and show by this switch. And here we can see the amplitude that is adjusted during the primary settings, and there is the maximum amplitude as I shown here. It is the number of preview slots plus 1. Then we see the length. It is actually the how long history we want to see during the pulsation, and it's some kind of pulse trace. Then we can change during the generation the level from which we want to see and render the pulse amplitude. For example, here we have number 2, so it will be rendered from the level 2 and higher. Here we have the maximum value is in our case number 4, but it doesn't make sense because then it will be only straight line and we will not see any pulse to use. Finally, we can have the pulse length minimum 1, and it means there will not be any history and no trace behind the pulse, so we see just the pulse only. So this is little bit theory about the pulse function, and now let's jump into the gene directly. So the pulse we have here is the control panel like we saw in the user guide. We can switch it on and off. When we have it on, we can use the master switch to switch it off and on. Then we can change the level from where we want to render the amplitude from 1, as it's the minimum will be always 1, and to the maximum that is equal to the number of the previous lots plus 1. So when we see the output box is the previous draws plus 1. It doesn't make sense to make it bigger, but because when we get over the filter, it means this 3 draws, then we will get into, in our case, to the 4th level, and then we will always get until the end of the generation or the end of the box. So it makes sense only to monitor the pulsation until the level which is equal to the first prediction to column F. The number of future lots has no influence to the pulse settings and amplitude, because as I said, it will always get to the end, so it doesn't make sense to monitor the pulsation here because it will always work. For the pulse we have only one parameter we can set up, and this is the pulse length. It is how long history we would like to record and render in the pulse graph, and it can be from 1, that means no trace, no history, or some higher number. It's not actually limited, and you can do some reasonable value. In our case today, I set it up number 30, which we should place during the primary settings. And now let's see how it works. So I will start the gene, and I will start it, and you will see we have the maximum amplitude because we have a number 4 here, so it doesn't make much sense. And secondly, we can move it to minimum value, and you can see some kind of stairs. As there is no filter settings, there is nothing, you see it doesn't make sense. We have always the stairs because the gene is running, as I can show it, it's running in loop, in the infinite loop, so it's getting through the first, second, third and fourth level, and then it's getting to the end of the box, so the fourth level is always reached. If I change it to the number 2, you see it's rendering from the second level right here. Now you see from the third level and from the fourth level. So I will switch off the display that it's running faster, and you see the stairs. And now we can end the generation, and during the transfer function that is on here, we can adjust the filter. So I will start with the filter. I will put number 1 here into the first drawing, and see the situation is a little bit different. So it's not completely the stairs. Sometimes it's difficult to get over the first level because we were not able to find at least one number. So sometimes it takes some time to get over the first level. Now I will end it, and I will make it a little bit harder, so I will put number 1 to the second drawing in the filter, and you see the position is getting a little bit different, so we are struggling in the second level and in the first level as well. So sometimes it's harder to get over the second draw here, and when we will not get over the second draw, it goes back to the first one. So that's something like getting the pulse from the 0 or from the beginning, and it's more similar to saw shape, some repeated shape. And so when we get over these two, when we get to the third level, then we automatically get to the fourth level because there is no wall in the third drawing. So now it's getting more sense, the pulsation. So we see how tough this filter is, and that's the reason why to use pulse, and at least for the beginning to see how tough the filter is, and if we are really able to get at least over the third level in some reasonable time. So let's end it, and I will change the filter to make it even more harder though. So we have walls in all three previous draws. And now we see we are getting over the second level, but not over the third one, not every time. So we stopped here and going back in the generation. Now you saw we got also over, now we jumped over that and the result was finished until the end. In case it will be better one, then it will be printed as the best result. Now let me change the level from where we want to render it. And there is one thing I would like to point out. For example, if I put it to the level number 3, and you see now that we are quite often getting over this third level and until the final destination, and now you see it's quite often, but don't be misled by your eyes and what you see. It means that the position is updated rarely, but this gene is quicker when it's not so often rendered, so it's some kind of illusion that you are getting much quicker into the fourth level, because the levels below we will not reach the third level are not printed and recorded at all. So it has relation to the speed of gene on the running in the background. So I can put it to the level 2 again, and let's say to the level 1. So sometimes up to you what you want to see. Maybe you are interested only for cases when you are getting over all the filter settings. It means over the wall number 3 in our case. If you are really able to get over the whole filter, so in this case the settings to number 3 makes big sense. Now I will make it a little bit or even more harder, so we put number 2 and see how it will look like. So we are struggling to get over the first level, so there is no jump, even it's running, so we are still jumping from 0 to 1, and you see we jump just once or second time. I will try to change it, and you see when I put it to the level 2, we are also struggling to get over the first wall, but it's not visible here as it's not recorded and it's very quick, the gene on the background. So you see that then only these better results are recorded. I will make 2 tries just to see how it looks when we make it even more harder. So we are struggling to get over the first wall and even not possible to get over the second wall. Yeah, so but as I make it a little bit, if I change the level, so we have more results than getting over the second wall as well. Now we were able to get over the third wall, so over all 3 walls. And the last change I will do is to make it all the walls like that, and see if we'll be able to get over all these 3 walls. If I put it to number 1, we will wait a long time, but let me do it with number 2. Yeah, we got over 2 walls, and now the number 3, and see if we are able to get during this tutorial over all 3 walls. Maybe not, maybe yes, we will see. Yeah, now we got once over these all 3 walls. So it takes some time, but in this case you see that this filter setting makes sense, that you are still getting good results that are better than 2, 2 and 2 to equal 2 results with 2, 2 and 2 hits. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching and your attention. If you missed something, just replay it. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel right now. Provide your feedback, comments, and I'll be glad for every like I will get from you. Join us on the Facebook page, groups, follow the links in the description, and see you next time on the 20th video tutorial, where I will describe the record function that is the part of the monitor section. So stay tuned and have a good time.